Hello again there, Year 10. So today we are going to be having a look at the command word discuss. So this is the last command word that we are going to be having a look at. In the past papers that we've got, there has only been one discuss question, but it is worth having a look at it just in case they bring it up in one of your future exams, and just to make sure that you understand how this is slightly different to explain and the risk of you not getting the marks in this if you don't think of it as something as its own command word. Okay, so as I've said before, with the explain and with the describe, a discuss question must be answered in sentences, otherwise you haven't discussed. And the command word is very similar to explain, but for WJC they're just looking for more points, and they're looking for really good reference to the photo or the case study information provided. Okay, so we're going to go over this question here that's got this picture attached to it. You will have seen it on the slide where we spoke about how to use these types of documents, texts, emails, pictures, that kind of thing. And then this is going to be the question that I want you to have a go at. So I am giving you all of the answers here. We're not looking for your knowledge. What we're looking for is, can you write enough to be accessing 7 marks worth? Okay, in a question like this, a discuss question for 7 marks, we're looking for at least half a page, at least. Okay, so it's a lot of writing. It's going to take you time. It's not just going to be a case of quickly throwing some answers down and yeah, that'll do. There's a lot to include in this. There's a lot to say, and we're looking for a really good quality piece of work. And that's why I've put the discuss question for just one question as your entire lesson for today, because I want you to sit there. I want you to plan it out. I want you to really break that question down. I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying in this lesson, and I want to see a really good quality piece of work written from my group, and Andy and Taku is going to be wanting to see the same from their groups. Okay, so we're looking for more content, more writing, more detail in terms of what this question is looking for. And the reason that we're saying, if you think back to the lesson that you will have just had a look at here, where we were saying that this was 4 marks, well, you might think, well, 4 and 4, that's 8 marks there. It's not the same as that. Discuss is slightly different in the way that it is marked. Okay, we are looking really to get 4 marks, like I said, for at least half a page of writing, maybe more, because for these types of questions you're marked on how you've written, not on the amount that you've written. So this one, it's dead easy. If you make that point and then you add a bit of explanation after it, you've got your 2 points. If you make a point here and a bit of explanation after it, you've got your 2 other points. You've got your 4 points altogether. It doesn't quite work the same on these discuss questions. Okay, but I'll break it down first. I'll go through what knowledge they were expecting, and then I'm going to quickly jump to the mark scheme and show you how they mark it. And from that, you'll see that it is slightly different. And actually, for a discuss question, you could fall into the trap of writing just a little bit more than you explain, and actually you won't have got enough in there to get those full marks. Okay, so we've got this picture. The car's crashed through the wall. From the information here, we know that it is a construction site. Okay, it's crashed through this wall into the site. Okay, and it's broken that external wall of the site boundary. So yesterday an accident happened at one of our North Division sites. Fortunately, it happened outside normal site hours and no one was injured. Great news. They're just saying that so that you don't start going into this rabbit hole of somebody might have been injured and you might need to be dealing with that. That's irrelevant. Okay, the car shown in the photograph has damaged the site boundary wall, so the site obviously now isn't secure, and the car's been removed by the police. That's important that the car's been removed. If that car was still there, it would be forming some kind of boundary in that gap that it's created. The car's gone now, there's just this open hole in the wall. The area of the site is where the site compound is located, and that's where tools, materials and equipment are stored. So that car's broken through this wall into this way, and in this back space here, that's where all of the tools, materials and equipment for that site are stored. It's really important in this, the site boundary wall is covered, coloured, and the tools, materials and equipment being stored there. Those are real key parts in there. Perhaps the bit where it's saying that it's been removed by the police, I maybe would have highlighted that as well, but those are the main bits in there. So our command word is discuss. Remember, that is what, why, how, with detail. Okay, and when it says with detail for this, it wants to know what is an effect. Yeah, what could you do to minimize it? How and why are you going to do that? And then it wants to know these specific things to do with the site, the fact that it is the site boundary wall, the fact that the tools, materials and equipment are stored there. Okay, that's why it's taking it that step above explain. So then in terms of your knowledge, it wants you to think about effects of a site boundary being broken and how to minimize those. And then in terms of the task, it's on about if they weren't to rebuild the wall immediately, what's going to happen? How could you minimize it? Okay, hopefully that all makes sense. Like I said, if it doesn't at this point, pause, go back, listen to what I've just said again, and if it still doesn't make sense, contact your teacher. Okay, so if we look at the answers now, in terms of the effects part, so this question split into two parts. We've got potential theft of tools, materials and equipment, potential vandalism to the site, potential danger to children, but also anyone, potential danger to anyone entering the site that shouldn't be on that site. So we've got 3 different effects there that you could be talking about, and really you should be talking about all of them. Okay, full sentences, not just listing them. Okay, how they can be minimized, you could have on-site security, so you could have someone patrolling that area. You could have CCTV cameras on there. You could have motion sensor alarms. You could put up some kind of temporary fencing across it, and you need to be making sure that the wall is safe. One of the risks that you've got here, okay, is that that wall isn't properly secured now. That wall isn't properly stable, so that could collapse further at any point. So you need to be making sure, even if you put a temporary fencing in, that needs to be safe. If you were to push on that bit and it was to crumble down, someone could be injured. Okay, so that's the content, the knowledge that you could be writing about. I'm just going to flip to the mark scheme because I haven't put this in the PowerPoint. And if we just have a look at this bit down here, okay, you can see that it says this is the indicative content, the stuff that I've just put into that PowerPoint for you. And then you can see down here how this is marked differently. Okay, so with this, it's not just saying, right, if they've put a point and then they've explained, they've got 4 marks, and then they put another point and they explain and they get 4 marks. It's not like that. It's about how you're writing it. So if you have a limited consideration of the effects and the way that they can be minimized, if you've missed some out, and if you've not really used any technical language and there's errors in your spelling and punctuation, you're only going to get 1 to 3 marks. Where it says a limited consideration, I'd be saying you've given maybe 1 or 2 effects on 1 or 2 ways that it can be minimized. If you've then got lots of spelling and punctuation mistakes, if you've not spoken, you've just said put up cameras, you've not said put up CCTV cameras, if you just said you could cover the hole in some way instead of putting something like you can put in temporary fencing, you're going to get 1 to 3 marks. It doesn't matter whether you write 5 sentences or 5 pages. If it's 5 pages of waffle and there's really bad spelling and punctuation and it's all dead generic, you're still only going to get 1 to 3 marks. Okay, and that's where, discuss is slightly different. If you've got most of the potential effects considered and there's some logical linkage to the way that it can be minimized, if you've got some terminology in there and most of your spelling and grammar is correct, then you're going to get 4 to 5 marks. Again, that could be 5 sentences, that could be 5 pages. Okay, it's about how you're writing it. It's about the detail that you're getting in there. So if you've then got a comprehensive discussion of the potential impacts, so by that they mean all the ones listed above, and a really clear indication of how they can be minimized, if you've got the technical terminology and its spelling and grammar is mostly error-free, you're going to get your 6 to 7 marks. And this is why I was saying that you've got to think of this question as about half a page minimum, because you're not going to get all of these effects and these ways to minimize impacts in less than that. You're just not going to get them in there. You're going to be in your 1 to 3 or your 4 to 5 marks section. So use this time. I've given you this entire lesson's worth of time to listen to me talk. I apologise, you're hearing my voice a lot at the moment. To listen to me talk and then to do this question on here. I've given you the answers. What I'm looking for in this question, what Andy and Taka will be looking for in the question is, have you taken the time? Have you thought about getting in that technical knowledge? Have you written those sentences really well? Have you linked points together? Have you spoken about the fact that it's a site boundary wall and the tools, materials and equipment being stored and that wall being a risk? Have you done all of those things in a way that flows and is mistake free and is really, really detailed? If you have, you're going to be getting those 6 or 7 marks, hopefully 7 marks. If you just have that attitude, like I was saying at the start, that some of you do have, again, I'm only talking about my group, but those, you'll know who you are. If you've got that attitude of, yeah, that'll do, I've thrown down a couple of sentences, you're going to be on the lower end of the marks. Okay, you need to take your time with this. You need to put your effort in. You will be being asked to redo them if you've not done well enough. Okay, so if you don't understand anything, make sure you've contacted your teacher, make sure you've listened through this again, and hopefully we'll get some really great attempts at this question. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.